those who are of the Mormon faith, but it's used very much in isolation on its own, really. So I've just left my piece of paper with my notes on it. We're always taught, aren't we, right from Sunday school, don't take verses out of context. So if we look at it in context with the rest of Scripture, really, this is very much this was the last question I looked at, so I've just pulled some ideas together. We're taught as well not to start with it doesn't, negatives, but we've got to do this. I mean, first of all, we know from Ecclesiastes, don't we? If we just turn very quickly to Ecclesiastes, just to pull my bookmarks out, sorry. I know where I'm going to go anyway. So, Ecclesiastes chapter 9. We beg the question: why would you be baptised for people who are dead? Ecclesiastes 9 verse 4 and 6. I'll read the NIV. Anyone who's among the living has hope. Even the live dog is better than the dead lion. For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no further reward. So that's interesting. If the dead have no further reward, what is the point of being baptised for? It contradicts, doesn't it? Baptism is, whilst we wouldn't say it was a reward, it's a gift from God. But the dead have no further reward, and even the memory of them is forgotten. Their love, their hate, their jealousy have long since vanished. Never again will they have part in anything that has happened under the sun. Obviously, that's people that aren't baptised into the hope of God. So, therefore, the dead don't know anything. Now, if the dead don't know anything, we go to Acts chapter 8. Again, it's putting it in context and how it contradicts the rest of Scripture. If you say that this verse means you could be baptised for people who've passed away, as the Mormons say, to save them, so to speak. Acts chapter 8, we know this is from verse 26. We find this man in the desert, the Ethiopian eunuch. He's studying the Scriptures, he's interested. He already has some concept of the Scripture. Verse 32, verse 31. How can I, except some man guide me, explain to me about the Scriptures? And Stephen then goes on, the place of the Scripture where it read to him, he was led as a sheep to the slaughter like a lamb. And he goes right through the Scriptures, doesn't he? Takes him right back, shows him where. And then the outcome is verse 36, on their way they went. They came into a certain water, and he said, see here, here is water, what doth hinder me to baptize? Here's the crux. If thou believest with all thine heart, thou mayest. And he answered, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Well, how can someone who is in the grave, who has no knowledge, who is deceased, has no reward, how can they understand these things and be baptized? It makes no sense at all, does it, really? And also, the words of Jesus in Matthew chapter 22 bring this home. Matthew 22, Jesus clearly states in verse 32, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. Okay, so that's very sort of cut and dry, isn't it? I am not the God of those that have died, that are in the grave, that have no knowledge. Okay, the other scripture says you have to have an understanding, you have to be baptised with an understanding. I can't get my head around how you can be baptised for someone. Now you're going to say, well, what does that verse actually mean? I didn't get that far. That's as far as I got, I'm afraid. Whether anybody's got... I looked at rested scriptures. It says simply here, so I think we wrote rested scriptures, I can't remember, Ron Abel was maybe struggling a bit. He says, a number of interpretations in the past have been proposed. The one which fits best in the context is the following. As what shall they do which are baptised for the dead, in parenthesis Christ, if the dead believers rise not at all? So I'll leave that thought with you. The first dead is Christ, the second dead are believers. I don't pass any comment on that. I said that's as far as I've got on most of this. So thank you.